welcome back to a new episode of Unscripted, NH Unscripted. I am your happy to be out of bed host, Ray Dudley. We are coming to you from the dating game like digs of the WKXL studios in Concord. Woo, we got a barn burn. Oh, wait, I have to thank my sponsor. Yeah, okay. LRFence.com. LakesRegionFence.com. If you are even thinking about putting up a fence this year, good luck, because it's getting cold, the ground's getting hard, winter's coming. Go out to LRFence.com, though. Matt can give you, there's a button out there where you can press to get a free estimate. We like free. When you get old, free and coupons are decent things in life. Click that and get a free estimate from Matt. They do it all. I mean, pickleball courts, sports courts, anything, pool fences, property fences, they do it all, and they do it well. I mean, very, very well. Lakes Region Fence, they're up in Guilford. LRFence.com is their URL. Well, I'm coming off a couple of weeks up at Gene's Playhouse, and we did Misery up there. This is kind of a part 2 episode. I wanted to kind of do a wrap-up of the show itself, speaking with Adam Kee and Alex Picard. And I asked them all kinds of questions. You know, it's not very often you get to have what you think is a very close to perfect show, but there are so many pitfalls in theater. So many pitfalls between sound, props, lights, costumes, makeup, acting. Anything can get in your way, and that can be a landmine. But up there this past 2 weekends, we did Misery, Stephen King's Misery. It was very, very well received. I need to thank a few people while it's on my mind. Audrey and Sarah and Saber and Paul and Victoria and the staff at Gene's Playhouse. I hope I didn't leave anybody out. I don't think I did. They were tremendous. That crew backstage, man, they were on it. They kept us sharp. They kept us happy. They kept us safe. I really appreciated all that they did. I think the last time we were on, I think I had an interview with Adam Kee. He's a New York actor that Gene's Playhouse brought in to co-star in Misery, along with Alex Picard. Alex, we appreciate all you do too, girl. And so I think what we're going to do is jump in. How much time before we get close? Yeah? All right. I actually recorded it at the Riverwalk Hotel with Adam and Alex. So this is a beautiful, beautiful wrap-up of the show. So we did a thing this week. We did a thing. So I wanted to find out, I have a major question I'll ask in a little while. But first of all, how exhausted are you? I mean, there was a lot going on. There's a lot of emotion. There's a lot of, well, not for you. You don't move.
Yeah, I don't move. I don't have to do anything.
You have lung capacity.
I lie in the bed.
I get him everything he needs.
Every time.
Breakfast,
eggs,
the barbecue.
Let me fix your blanket for you.
Can I get you anything?
But it's an exhausting show. I mean, there's a lot going on. So, Alex, tell me first, because you'll have to leave soonest, maybe. What was that arc like for you? How much energy did it take you to go? Because I watched you degrade as the show goes on.
Yeah, she falls apart.
Yeah, understatement alert.
Yeah.
So what's going on there? How did you decide how nice she was in the beginning, and then when she flips? Because there's a definite line there where she
kind of loses it.
Yeah.
I think that I was being really careful not to be Kathy Bates, or anybody that.
Yeah, I try not to be Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had seen the movie a bunch of times because I loved this book. I loved the movie. Like I'd seen it, so I couldn't. She was in my head. But I knew I had to make Annie mine, and that was the only way it was going to work. There's an element of fun and cuteness to her that kind of surprised me. That stuff kind of popped out while I was working with you, Adam. Sure. Just in kind of reaction to him, just trying to when you're trying to keep control of your unwinding mind, when you're trying to, it's like when you're drunk, right? And you're trying to pretend you're not, right? And it's that fight, and you have to work really hard to have that control. I think it's a similar struggle for Annie. So I think the most energy I spend is in Act 1 when she's working so hard.
Are you serious?
To stay together.
Because in the last scene, when you're lying your pants off about...
Yeah, the one with you?
Yeah. I'm watching the wheels turn, and you're not stopping for a second. This woman is deep in making up this story.
Well, she believes.
Yeah. I mean,
she's not making it up.
I'm watching calories burn as the brain just keeps going. She's getting deeper and
I
deeper.
have my eyes closed in the other room, and I'm like, asleep or something and drugged, but I'm listening to it, and I'm like, whoa, that is really some stuff going on over there. I was like, I don't know what the hell is she's listening to.
She believes every word that she says.
Yeah.
She thinks it's all truth. Like, she believes that she speaks to God. There's an element of, like, schizophrenia there. There's some bipolar stuff in there. And the amount of control it takes, I think she uses less energy when she can let that stuff out.
So I watch you in that last scene, in that crazy scene. You have this start, stop, where she needs to start telling a story, and she sits down and she's weaving it. You can see her weaving the story in her mind.
Yeah.
And you start to tell the story, and I don't know if it's because she's trying to think ahead, or if she's pausing because she's just so deep in the story.
Yeah.
It's her story, and she's trying to tell it. But you do that, you stagger that story.
Yeah.
And you make legitimate pauses. When you start to cry, and 200 pages, and it's agony, and I'm watching, I'm like, I need to get a shovel and just hit her at this point. Cause
wow. I'll give you one. I got one under the bed. It's like,
I have a sledgehammer too.
right here right under the sink.
Yeah, but I think too that she's trying to come up with a cover.
Yeah.
But at the same time, she wishes that happened.
yes.
She's so dark at that point.
She truly wishes that God had spoken to her.
Dark.
And to say that she is trying to write this book, she is. She's just trying to get him to do it.
Yeah, good point.
And how hard she is working to do that, that's all true.
Yeah.
I don't think at any point she lies.
I
really don't. I think she tells the truth every time. She just doesn't, she can't always keep it.
Yeah.
Like promises she makes and the truths that she tells, she can't always stay to it.
I think you're right, and I think the scene that does it for me, and it does it for me every single time, and even more so in the last few performances, is the scene where you come in, where Annie comes in the rain, and she says, I used to think I only loved Paul Sheldon, the writer. Now I know I love Paul Sheldon.
Yeah.
And then you say, don't tell me you love me too. I know it's not true, but I love you. And then you go into the thing about you'll never know the pain of losing someone.
It's heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking.
I'm so glad you brought that up.
That moment is really heartbreaking because, sadly, I think a lot of women can recognize that kind of pain.
Yes.
Right? Where you are not the woman for the man that you love, and you wish that you were, but you're not the right type, or you're not the right whatever.
Right.
And you can't be, and he will never love you. And I think that a lot of women can identify with that, and just I'm saying,
but she says it.
She says
I can't believe she says it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. When I hear her say that, I'm like,
that
wait a minute.
For all the lies she tells that she thinks are truths, that is the most honest she is in the whole show.
Yeah. I think then when we have that dinner scene, and we're sitting there, and you say, well, my mother and I were close.
The only one who never let me down.
Only one. And it's another moment where I almost get sucked into it with her. Yeah. And then I say, Annie, I think we need to have a toast, which means I need you to leave the room so I can poison you. But you get sucked into this thing of, it's the truth of her. And you look into her eyes and you get sucked into this heartbreaking person. Mm-hmm. And it's difficult. Go through with that.
Yeah. So you both, it's like memorizing the phone book. There's just two of you on stage. You're just battling it out, these mind games, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So what was the most difficult scene, do you think, to be realistic in, and that you think the audience bought into the most?
Oh, goodness.
Oh my gosh.
So what was the hardest to memorize? Was there one that was like, I just, there's something that's not right about this scene, or I can't get it, or...
I think the most challenging scenes, for me at least, are the first couple scenes of the play.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. Those are really hard.
Yeah?
Difficult.
Why?
And it's just like, where am I? What am I doing? You're fine. And we go back and forth, and then I need my pills. Here's your pills. And it's difficult to keep it kind of on just a very back and forth. There's nothing strange going on here.
Hang on, Sloopy. Sloopy, hang on. Woo, we're going to put a pin in it right there for a few seconds. We got to take a break, but we will be back with block number 2 of my interview with Alex Picard, Adam Kee. You are listening to NH Unscripted. We are coming to you from the Green Acres like digs of the WKXL studios. Hang on. Well, if you don't give up and you don't give in, you may just be okay. I am your Mike and the Mechanics Like host, Ray Dudley. We are coming to you from where are we coming to you from? The dating game like digs of the WKXL studios in Concord. We are picking up with my interview with Adam Kee and Alex Picard as we finished up our run of Misery up there at Gene's Playhouse. I really honestly hope you folks got out this summer and saw some theater and had some dinner out. It's just about over for the professional season. I don't think there's many shows left if there are any out there, but I really hope you got out. Summertime and theater, they just go hand in hand.
The first couple scenes of the play are the most challenging, I think, because there's a subtlety, there's a stillness, and there's a normal quality to them of we're just.
So you have a real risk of losing the audience in the early part.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you easily lose them in the early scenes.
Very much so.
Very easily. So you're trying to keep them in the story while technically nothing is happening. Right. And on the one side, he has no idea what's going on.
Right.
And she knows exactly what is going on.
Yes.
I mean, she immediately says, "Oh, Paul, you were in." How do you even know who I am? Like, there's no. Right. He's got so much that he has to. It's amazing watching you do it every night. Just so much that you're trying to figure out. I almost did it. Sorry, Ray.
You're trying to.
You're trying to figure it out.
Here, sorry, I'll be the censor.
Yeah.
Well, Annie doesn't really swear, so I get it. It's
got yeah.
But there, he spends so much time trying to figure out what's happening, and she is in complete control, but she can't show her hand. She can't act like the obsessed fan too soon, but she still has to let him know how much she loves his books without going so far that the audience is like, oh, she's completely nuts already. Like, she can't.
She physically changes, though.
She does, yeah.
I mean, she doesn't just psychologically change. She physically changes.
Well, Annie is always in motion when she's trying to be typical or normal, for lack of a better word.
You think she has a hard time doing that?
Yeah. So it's like there's like an energy.
What is her normal?
Coursing.
What do you think her normal is?
Oh, well, she's still when she's in rage, or when she's incredibly sad, or when she's trying, like when she's really fighting to find something in her head, like like the voices and all of that, like when she's trying to.
She goes dark, a lot.
Yeah.
Several times in the play.
Yeah, there's a bunch of times where she's like, well,
quiet.
If you did that and you did that, like she's working it out in the moment.
Yeah.
So I think that was something that I worked on really intentionally. I wanted to kind of show how that it's like an energy that courses through her, right? Sure. So when she's trying to keep it together and seem all right, she's just a little fidget of the fingers or whatever, and then you can see her unwind. She has more of that in Act 2 than she does in Act 1. She's much more still in Act 1.
I'm telling you, in the scene that we do at the end, she's falling apart. Yeah, the notebook has come apart.
That is like the last. That's the last shred of sanity that she has. The last shred of sanity that she has is when she walks into her kitchen.
It's missing by the time I get there because.
But she walks into the kitchen and she notices how messy it is. She's never had a person see it.
Ooh, that's good.
And like you can live in your own filth.
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
But when somebody else sees it, there is a self-consciousness that
And she just lied to him about making coffee.
Oh, shit,
Yes.
coffee maker.
Didn't know how to make coffee. Yeah, didn't know how to make coffee.
In fact, each night, you know what I take out of the cabinet each night? It's Nora's. It's like chicken bouillon. She just takes it out of the cabinet and puts it on the counter.
There you go.
I think I puked a little in my
That's what comes up at the end there. The bag of blood, that's from the coffee.
Yeah, it's a bouillon cube.
Yeah,
It's a terrible
that's
trick.
great.
I thought it was a cat ball, fur ball. But
You know, it's interesting because this is something we talked about a lot in rehearsal. Our director, Lawrence, he talked to you a lot about physicality, and he was talking to me a lot about kind of not selling your healing, but also to not just be kind of dead the whole show. And so I was trying to find places throughout the show where I could say, okay, maybe in this scene I can sit up a little bit in the bed. And just that's a way to show just a little bit of I'm a little stronger.
Yeah.
And then from the voice being kind of like this at the beginning to this, and then really yelling and
he
screaming,
takes her apart.
Different.
Towards
He's kind of rising up as she's falling apart.
Yeah.
It's really
Going opposite directions.
It's really great.
no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
One of my favorite physical things that you do is the scene when you're in the kitchen, because I have to I've watched from the house for my entrance there. When you're in the kitchen and you're getting the novel out of the cabinet and you're with your bad arm, you're trying to lift yourself up to get into the cabinet, right? But then maybe a scene or two later, I come in and I gently touch his shoulder and he's like, ow. And I'm like, I don't think that's got anything to do with
Lawrence.
It's got everything to do with do not touch me. Do not touch me.
That's kind of
It's real. I love that moment. I love it.
That's a fun
He
scene.
flinches.
The scene right after the getting the pills.
Yeah.
Because it's one scene where, and it took me a while to get it, but when you come in, I got your paper, and I've just gotten back into my costume, in other words, and I say no, leave me alone, I need my pills, and I just shut my eyes, and it breaks my heart, and then I kind of the last few shows I've been kind of opening one eye like, am I selling this? Am I doing it? And then she gives me my pills, and we have a moment and stuff. Wow.
I love that moment too, because when I think she's curious, I think she's on to you already. She's been on to you. I think she's been on to you.
Totally.
But there is this when you won't let her put you back in bed, and she's just stares at you for a while. Because it breaks my heart to see you like this, to be a surprise to the audience.
Absolutely.
Because the intention is to make them think that she's going to be like, you've been out. You know what I mean? And there's not a lot you can sell to this audience because they've all seen it before.
They know what's going to happen.
But if you can kind of keep these little tiny things that keep them on the edge, they don't know what's coming.
Do you think, and I know we talked a little bit, not we, I was on the sidelines, during your toast, do you think she knew she was being poisoned?
I went with no.
You did?
I did. I went with no.
Why? You know he stole the novel.
I know he stole the novel. I know he's been out because there's marks with the wheelchair. She's really clear about the things that she's noticed. She's trying to figure out how he got out before she calls him on it so that she can take all the stuff away that she needs to take away, right? She doesn't want it to happen again. Mm-hmm. But the reason I decided, I thought about it for a while, about her knowing that she was being poisoned, but she is so enamored with him.
Okay.
In that moment.
Yeah.
He has asked her to dinner.
True.
She cooked him a meal. She is wearing her mother's dress. She is trying so hard. And he does all this stuff about the nurse.
And it is a very modest,
nurses.
It's a very modest dress.
It's a very modest dress. But I think that in that moment, she's so caught up in how kind he is being that there's a lot you can miss when you think somebody is being kind to you. There's red flags that we always miss when somebody's kind to us.
It's sort of that thing. We go back to and maybe we talked about this in rehearsal, but you kind of go back to when we're a teenager and you fall in love for the first time. And it's it could be, he just robbed a bank, right? Or she just, stole something and murdered somebody.
Right, and you don't care.
I don't care. I
am in love. Yeah.
I don't care.
Did you ever worry that there was a scene that the audience wasn't going to buy?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah, I think so.
I was a little worried about the hobbling.
I was always worried about the hobbling. Not because of any. I mean, I just think it's a tough sell.
How ironic is that? Because they bought it in every night. They bought it.
Yeah, that seemed to sell really well.
Every night. Yeah. You could hear them gasping.
Yeah. But there's so many elements that have to go just right for it to work.
Absolutely. The staging of it and everything you're doing. I mean, I'm just kind of there, and you have to do all this stuff with the...
Well, I have to sell, like, that this block of wood is heavy, that the sledgehammer is heavy.
Yeah.
All this stuff is,
It's just, I mean, there are so many elements that have to go exactly right. And sometimes, I think early on when we were doing it, we were rehearsing all the elements, trying to get them all exactly right, and they were all kind of
exactly.
Yeah. And now it's turned into that thing.
Now it's got a smoothness to it.
Interesting. Did all of the technical stuff work? So I never see the smoke in any scene. I'm always off stage. Yes. Did all of that work? Because I can't see it, and I know they were worried about it.
The barbecue didn't work tonight, but that's the only time it hasn't worked.
The light worked, but the smoke.
The light worked, the smoke didn't. But every night I think it worked.
The trash can smoke worked, and
the flickering trash can is great. That was
it's great, isn't it?
What a great effect! What a great effect when the lights go down, that comes up.
Yeah. And oh gosh, that's another one where that was a tech element that got added at the last minute with the flickering and the smoke and everything. So now when I'm thinking, I need 3 things, and these are lines, she says the 3 things I need. When she goes off stage, while I'm wheeling around, all I'm thinking is, okay, I have to light the match first, then press this button, then press that button, then put the match down.
This is acting, folks.
This is all I'm thinking.
This is acting.
But he's also, because he's cueing me too, I can't walk out there until I hear the matchbox hit the note.
Oh my God.
So he's got to cue me as well, so he's a busy bee out there.
And I feel like once I get to the part of when she comes out and I say, remember how, Misery's father, and I put it, I'm like, we're done. I am finished with this show. I am finished. Even though there's a big fight coming up, I'm like, I am so finished. But
woo, we are screaming to this one, baby. Halfway through my interview with Adam Kee, Alex Picard. Well, they've turned out to be really good friends of mine. We're going to put a pin right there come back for block number 3. Hang on. Welcome back to NH Unscripted. Break out those transistor radios. This is the show where if that ain't loving you, then God didn't make little green apples. I am your O.C. Smith-like host, Ray Dudley. We are coming to you from the Hogan's Heroes Like Digs of the WKXL studios in Concord. You are currently listening to a pre-recorded interview I did with Alex Picard and Adam Kee up at the Jean's Playhouse in Lincoln. We had a great time up there. My goodness. We had a great time. The audiences loved that show. It was dark. It was everything. It's horror, baby. I have a question for you. Are there, nothing about the show now. We've moved on a little bit. Are there roles out there for either one of you that you would love to do that you have not done yet, that's sitting out there waiting? Yes. I know. I want to know what they are.
You see how we're staring at each other.
Yeah, I thought someone was going on. Is there a secret here I didn't know? What? No. So what's coming up? What if someone called you up with your dream role, what would it be?
I've been really lucky because I played Martha in Virginia Woolf last year. And
I know.
That was a real dream role for me. And
girlfriend.
this was like a bucket list role that I didn't even know I had until it was offered to me. And I went, I've got to play that. I've got to do it.
Yeah.
So I've been really lucky, but I think, I still have some. Where are yours?
What?
Wait, you didn't even give yours yet. Wait, that was
nice.
I want to know his first.
What's that?
She's running for Senate, everybody. She's running for Senate. She's going to just pass the question to the next person.
I am dying to play Miss Hannigan in Annie.
Wow.
I really want to play Miss Hannigan. I just want to sing Little Girls so badly. Like to my children. I think that would be a riot. I do want to do that. I want to play Frankie and Frankie and Johnny at the Claire de Lune.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of Shakespeare roles, so there's stuff there.
There's still stuff at Shakespeare you want to do?
Yeah, I think so.
You did 8 years of Shakespeare. You've done everything but the sonnets.
Yeah, but there were a couple I repeated Beatrice. You want to do some. There are some of the queens that I never played. We never did any histories. You know what I mean? I would love to get to Queen Margaret or Anne.
How do you do 8 years of Shakespeare and never do one of the histories? What are you doing down there? Romeo and Juliet 4 times?
They don't love it.
I think they're good. I think they're terrific.
I love them.
I just think they're wonderful.
What's on your docket?
Oh, God. I think, well, eventually, I'd love to play George in Who's Afraid of Virginia
Just
Woolf.
call me.
I will call you. I would love to play. 'Cause I'm kind of in that in-between place right now. I'm a little too old, I think, to play Nick.
Yeah.
And I could probably play George, but it would be a tough sell.
I think not tough. I think you could pull it off.
I mentioned this to both of you, but I would love to do the show, the Days of Wine and Roses. I love this play. I love the movie, and I think it's one that audiences maybe know, but they maybe haven't seen or don't really know. I just think it's a really very good character study, and I hope we can do it at some point.
Yeah, me too. That would be a really good one.
Is it tough to do? Well, nobody does it. I don't know anybody who does it.
Well, I think it's not tough to do on a technical level. I think it's just tough. It's a tough one where you have to have actors and a director who are willing to just sit down at a table and just go to places, emotional places.
I almost had a chance to do a Long Day's Journey into Night.
Oh, wow.
Woo!
Yeah, that would be a good one.
Oh, my God. It's like 4 hours long, though.
Yes.
I mean, it's a long day's journey. It's a nighttime.
It's literally a long day's journey into night.
Yeah.
And it just descends into darkness. Oh, my God.
Absolutely.
Oh, my God. Okay, here's a trick question.
I thought they were all trick
I didn't
questions.
know we were going to be duped. Here we go. All right.
I'm a master. You can say that.
Oh, wow.
No, so let's pretend that you're like more famous than you are, like really famous, like really famous.
Like
well,
nobody knows. Okay. Well, just a second. Yes, of course I'll sign.
So that's your question right there. So no, if you had the chance, let's say you're famous like a megastar, and your name, your persona can do one of two things. If you had the choice, would you do a play that nobody ever heard of, but because you're famous, you could make it a famous play? Or would you choose a role in something that, like a big name like Music Man or, whatever, and make that because you still have the draw? And like Sweeney Todd, like Josh Groban or something. But would you use your fame to promote the one that nobody knows about, or would you help them out and use your fame for
to sell the tickets?
Right.
Yeah.
I would think it depends on the script, first of all. But I mean, ideally, it would be doing a new show that nobody's heard of, and but it would it wouldn't just be helping people out. I would do something that I say, okay, this has to be a really good script. Otherwise, for the rest of my life and career, it would be,
right.
Oh, that was that one that guy was in, and whatever. And,
but you could set the template if you did that for that role.
And keep potentially. We need rewrites. You can do that kind of stuff.
Yeah. What about you, Hawks? I mean, if somebody came to you and said...
I think it would be really dreamy to originate a role. Yeah. I've only ever played roles that other people have played before me.
Right.
I think it would be really amazing.
So Adam's wrong.
Adam is wrong.
Wow.
Just thought I'd get that out there.
Well, that's why I was going to plead the fifth, but I thought,
But he's also right. It would be the right project. I mean, it is right now, and I'm certainly not famous. Like, it has to be the right project. I'm not going to attach myself to something.
You have a guy's name for crying out loud. I say Alex Picard, and they go, "Who's he?" I'm like,
I think if you go to a Star Trek convention, you would totally get enough money to make him work a project.
Good point.
Yeah, you would.
Good point.
People would love me there.
Yeah, absolutely. They would.
But I would love to originate a role. I would really love that. To just have a brand new play, and it's all me to figure that out.
Because then people would be like Annie Wilkes, right? Kathy Bates. She set the template.
Yeah.
And now everyone compares it to that. And then every time that it pops up.
Yeah. I mean, everybody that sat in the audience every night was like,
I know.
It's not Kathy Bates.
Right.
You know, but they had to decide at some point in that evening that they were going to go with what I was doing.
Yeah, they're going to go on the ride. Yeah. All right.
And I think other things throughout history have been like that. I mean, after
the Peloponnesian Wars.
Oh, well, yeah, of course, yeah. Well, you had shows like the Music Man with Robert. I mean, it still gets this guy wasn't Robert Preston, and I mean that went back to when they were making the film after he'd been on Broadway.
Yeah.
It was that big thing where the studios said, well, we're going to use Frank Sinatra and Meredith.
They
Wilson.
did.
That's what the studio wanted. They wanted Sinatra because he was a big name.
Yeah.
Preston was just a Broadway star. And Meredith Wilson, who wrote the script, he said, well, you either use Robert Preston or you're not doing my show.
I had no idea.
And so Meredith Wilson, who wrote it, he put his name on it. He said, you don't get to do this unless it's Robert Preston.
Dude, that's some pull right
That's the
there.
way it's going to be.
Mother of God.
Right.
We have been, how many weeks have we been involved in this?
3, 4, 5 weeks total.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I tried to count up how many movie references popped up in all of our discussions from day one. And I'm like, I know, right? Yeah. I'm like, okay, Marathon. I start with Marathon Man.
Well, you reminded me of Citizen Kane. Well, there's another one.
Yeah. And
there's a lot.
Even tonight, we had like 3 before the show started.
I'm like trying to take notes. I go, okay, I got to rewatch that one. Wow. Shawshank. Oh yeah, I got to rewatch that one. Oh my God, Dog Day Afternoon. So how many?
Mary Poppins.
Right.
Mary Poppins. Yes, right. Mary Poppins. I mean, I think that happened like several times.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah.
Bed knobs and broomsticks came up.
That was a good one.
I mean, my God.
Dude, there were Monty Python references coming out. I'm not dead yet.
Yeah, I mean,
dead yet.
So I'm going to say there are hundreds of movie references that I couldn't keep up.
Amazing, yeah.
Well, part of it is the fun, too, right?
Fun.
Like, we're trying to keep it light so that we don't get sucked into the darkness of this play,
Which is easy to do.
It's so easy
like
to
this.
do.
It's very easy to get sucked into being depressed every night and just going home.
Yeah. So do you... All right, we'll go back to that for a second then. Is it that easy to fall into a really dark place? People can play that up, where, I'm playing this really dark role and they become abusive, whatever. But did you ever have that temptation? I mean, Dustin Hoffman have you tried acting?
Yeah. Hey, have you heard about acting? Yeah. I mean, I think
Speaking of movie references.
It's easy to go there, and I think you have to go there to a certain extent.
Yeah.
During rehearsals, during the performance, and you do go to that place, but then you have to allow yourself to pop out of it at some point.
You don't take it home with you.
You might think about things, but you don't take it home and be, oh God, I'm going to...
Right.
I had a harder time letting go of Martha than I do of Annie.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, because Martha lives like that all the time. Yes. Annie pops out of it herself. Do you know what I mean? So, within scenes, I'm going from that dark place to, okay, what do you want, tuna casserole for dinner? She's, so and when I leave, it's much easier to let her go. Martha was a lot harder.
Ooh, we are getting there. I hope you are enjoying this interview I had with Adam Kee and Alex Picard as we dissected the performances in the show Misery that took place the past 2 weekends up in Lincoln, New Hampshire. If you get a chance to get up there, you gotta do it. All right, put a pin in that one. We'll be right back. Listener, you are listening to NH Unscripted, where we are signed, sealed, and delivered. That makes me your Stevie Wonder-like host, Ray Dudley. We are coming to you from the Fantasy Island-like digs of the WKXL studios in Concord. Proudly, I might add. Turn those transistor radios up. Get out your Sony Walkmans, whatever. Hit it, brother. Hit it. So... where do you guys go from here? We're all going back to our quote-unquote mundane lives here, So where do you go what you're going back to doing books?
Yeah, I'm just back to the full-time gig of doing audiobooks, starting some commercial VO work, so I'll do some of that. And I wait. The theater projects have to be really good, because I got a family, I'm busy. Yeah. Like I got, I am really blessed, and then I act every day of my life, every working day of my life.
Oh, well, I'll have you on the show for that, because I'm so interested in hearing that story.
And I don't ever want to let that go. So it has to be, because I didn't record any books this month.
At all?
No, because I was rehearsals during the day, and so I had to let that part go so that I could do this. So it has to be the right project to say goodbye to the work.
So how many hours a day do you spend in the booth, typical?
It depends on the project and the deadline, but I don't like spending more than 5 hours in the booth. It's really exhausting work, and it's just a lot. So I think I did I've done a few 6-7 hour days, but those were not my favorite.
Yeah. So what's the tiring part about it? I know I should save this for later, but we're there. What the heck?
Well, it's tiring because you're, it's a really different kind of energy than the theater, because you're, like, in the theater, we've got this huge audience that he and I are trying, like, we're talking to a huge group, right?
Yes.
And when I'm in the booth, I am talking to one person.
Right.
It's just one person's ear that I'm in. I don't have to be general about anything. Right. So everything has to be very specific, right? And, you can't, you have to be careful of how much movement you make, because you can't make a lot of noise.
Page turning, right? Coughing.
I stand when I narrate, so that gets tiring. I just find it easier than sitting. So there's a lot, and depending on the content of the book, it can get really difficult, because you're not just living in one character's emotions, you're living in all the characters' emotions.
Sure. Yeah.
Two people are having an argument, you have to see both sides of that argument. That's exhausting.
I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
Never mind an argument. Holy crap. Sir.
That's, wow.
So you're going back to
wow.
He's enthralled with
Jeez, I just like, Annie, I'm your number one fan. Alex. So I've actually listened to all of her audiobooks. Sorry.
He's speed.
But I love that.
3 times speed.
I'm going to go back to New York, and where I've been for the last 20 years, and I've done a lot of auditions since I've been here, a lot of self-tapes and submissions and that, and then I know I have a reading coming up in the city on the 22nd or 23rd of September, a reading of a new play.
Really?
So I'll be doing that, and then a couple of voiceover jobs that'll be in the next month, and then I also do the teaching. And
right. It's not mentoring, it's actually teaching.
Teaching and that, and private lessons, private coachings, and I also work with New York Theater Workshop we do master classes in that, so we'll be doing that with them. So
are they well attended?
Yes,
very much so. They are.
Yeah, they just did a show there, and we did master classes at local schools and that, and high schools. But it was called "Here There Are Blueberries," about had to do with the Holocaust, and about a person finding out that his grandfather was a Nazi and involved in the killing of millions of people.
I thought Misery was dark.
Misery, Misery is
now
like Sesame Street.
A comedy.
But that was it. It's like Misery's a comedy.
For Sledgehammer.
Yeah. So, but that's the kind of stuff they do. New stuff a lot at New York Theater Workshop. So that's what I'll be doing when I go back.
But I'll tell you, if somebody tells me that I get to go on stage with Adam Kee again, I'm
Oh my God.
Really?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Really? In a heartbeat?
In a heartbeat.
Likewise to Alex, and likewise to you.
Yeah.
Renee.
I'm going to edit this part out. So.
What's that? Oh wow! Oh my gosh! No, I would go on stage if somebody said there's a play and either of you or both of you were in it. I would say yes, not even knowing what the play is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Most likely.
And I
I would
appreciate
want to work
that.
with you too.
I appreciate that. Would do either of you feel that you left anything on the table? Was it? Did you really get all of your character, or was there, as the time went on, and now you get more relaxed, and you go over lines and you think about the character, was there stuff that you thought you could have maybe brought out more, or or not. I mean, if it's fully done, it's fully done. But, you're like, I could have probably... What's that?
Well,
wait, what's this?
See us wink at each other.
I know. I'm like out of the club. I'm like, what's going on here?
I always say, there are very few shows and very few roles where I finish it and I have regrets about it, like negative regrets. But I always feel like I can find something more. If there's another performance, find something more. Play something a different way.
Yeah.
And the way to do that, I think, is just try to live in the scene that you've created.
Yeah.
Even though there's a structure to it, you try to say, well, maybe I'll just, if she says do this, I'll just wait. And not do it.
I think the bones are there.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm left anything unattended in the way that I'm playing Annie or the way that you're playing Paul, but I think there is stuff that we don't even know about that we could have found. We found new stuff tonight.
What?
We did.
Yeah.
What?
Every night there was just something.
Oh, I thought you just forgot lines.
Yeah. That's what those pauses are. We're just forgetting stuff.
Those real big pauses.
Yeah.
But like there's, when you're really present with your scene partner and you trust them and you know that they're willing to go there with you, you can find all kinds of stuff.
Oh,
and so
That's what I was
my only
getting
regret
at.
is the stuff we didn't get a chance to find.
Yeah. And with another week of performances, we would have
could have
found
found a whole
those
other
things.
stuff.
Yeah, so it does take that. I mean, we did 2 weekends. And even my role, I was finding things where I said, I got a line, I think I've been saying it wrong.
And I was like, bring it, Ray.
I know.
Okay, let's go.
I'm like, what? Okay.
Ray out there, he's doing Long Day's Journey. Okay, we got to do it. We're going there now. We're going there. It's going to be another 4 hours, guys. Let's go.
But, I think people don't understand that, at first it's memorization, and then you add some blocking, and then there's interaction. But there's a time when you begin to absorb the character.
Yes.
Yeah.
And your mind relaxes a bit. And it starts thinking about the way you're saying things, the tone of what you're saying, what it really means. And you begin to expand. That emotional cloud begins to grow, where you can, you begin to find the little nuances, right?
Yeah, and it's the nuances. I mean, the show that Lauren directed is very much intact. Right. It's just these beautiful little subtle moments, like just that are really lovely. One that I really loved that you did the other night, where I don't remember what it was.
It must have been a scream.
No,
because he never screams.
No,
He
like,
never.
you don't want to burn the book, right? And you don't.
The book burning.
And then, he had always made eye contact with me in that. And then one night he puts his head down like he's begging me, and I just put my hand on his head and I'm running my hand through his hair.
I'm telling Lawrence,
it's going to be
changed
okay.
the block.
Change the block.
But it was so beautiful.
Shake the pea.
And even tonight he changed that.
Oh,
yeah, and it's just because you just find the moment you want.
I thought he just forgot a line again.
I just forgot a line. No, that was last night. But you, like you mentioned before, when you have the scene partner who's willing to go there because you change those moments subtly, and then you stick with it. And we locked eyes. You remember tonight? I was looking at you, and you had my eye, and you said, "Make the right choice now."
Yeah,
you're doing it.
It was so good.
It was totally different than it had been, but the structure was there.
Yeah.
Yes. So, so people who don't perform don't understand that dynamic because when I talk to kids, I tell them go to the mall and go study people walking through the mall. There are small little things that people do. You don't notice generally, but it's something that they have. It's a tick. It's a
It's a little something.
Yes, and the audience won't necessarily see it, but it makes a complete picture.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff both of us, like all three of us did to like every show that we worked really hard on that detail. And people don't see it, but they see it.
Yeah. And that's how you build it though after that, because now it gets really richer. It gets much fuller. At first, it's very sterile. You're just acting, you're memorizing your lines, you're just going through it.
Right.
But at some point, it expands.
Right.
And and the interaction, and if you're working with people who are pretty good, they'll pick up on that.
Yeah.
And you create a whole different dynamic than what you had thought it was going to be. Okay, we did it. We made it through. I hope you enjoyed that interview with Alex Picard and Adam Kee. You'll find Adam in New York sometime. He loves performing there. Adam Picard is an audiobook narrator. She's also going to be doing something, I think it's September, with Powerhouse. Anyway, NH Unscripted. Happy to be out of bed. Host Ray Dudley. Got my Nehru jacket on and my platform shoes. All right. That's enough fooling around for today. We'll catch you on the next episode. Adios.